Hello everyone. In this tutorial I'm going to cover how to extrude shapes and create a house-like structure. Um, and this is actually what we're working towards right here. So let's begin. This house was actually constructed of these shapes, and I actually turned some of these into symbols, okay? So anyway, what I'm going to do is let's actually just make a new layer for a moment. You won't have to do this, but I'm doing this because I just want to kind of work from the start. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with a rectangle. So I'm going to get the rectangle tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to make the top of our house. Make this just a little smaller here. And the way we're going to do the top of the house is we could draw a triangle, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pen tool and I'm going to come over here, and the pen tool, if you haven't changed the settings, it should automatically add an anchor point if you're on a line. And so you see the plus sign there. So all I got to do is click. Now also I have my smart guides on, so it helps me to understand about trying to get it towards the center, which I will be on when I click this. So this is actually right in the center of that line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my direct selection tool, click on that, and then we can actually toggle up with our upward arrow on our keyboard, and we can make the top of our house. Now you can also just pull that up with your direct selection tool, but hold down your shift key if you're going to keep that straight up, okay? So that's how we get the top of the house. Now, if we're going to make a house, we should make a roof with it too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just select this anchor point with the direct selection tool, and then I'm going to click Command C, which is copy, and Command F, which is paste in front. And what it does is, I'm going to move this so you can see what it does. It actually creates just this shape right here. It's an open path, okay? So I pasted that right there. So now let's actually move this anchor point down a little bit, okay? It will, and by keeping those smart guides on, it will help me to control where this is going, okay? So it stays right there on that line. We'll move this one down too, and see that shows me how that intersects with that, okay? Now, what we're going to do is just get our pen tool, and we're going to make a shape here out of these two lines, and that's how we're going to make our roof. Very simple. Now we can make a more complex roof with gutters if we want to, and I can show you some examples of what that would look like. But all we need to do is, for this simple part of this exercise, is this, and I'm going to let you choose what you're going to end up making once I get finished with this. So anyway, what I want to do is I want to pick a color for the roof. And I might pick this purple color right here for the moment because I want to make this look kind of like that kids fairy tale kind of dollhouse. It could be something you'd see in a fairy tale. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually start making the sides and the front here, okay? Because this will be the front of our house. Um, so what we're going to do is I'm going to actually copy this shape. So let's take this down like this, and then I'm holding on my Alt key while I'm moving it, and what it does is it actually makes a copy of it. I'm just going to move it over here. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and first we'll make a door for our house. And I'll just get my rectangle tool, and if you remember the door that I had shown you in the beginning of the with this house, it actually kind of had a arc doorway. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make it. But I'm not going to do it with the circle. I'm actually just going to do it by adding an anchor point right here. And then I'm going to actually just get my direct selection tool. A is the keyboard shortcut. And I'm just going to click and pull up and hold down my shift key so it keeps it straight. All right. Now let's change the color on that so we can see that. And I'm going to make this a darker blue here, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my anchor point tool, which is actually this tool right here. We'll tear this off here so we can see these tools. I've got a lot of palettes open right now. And so anyway, this is the tool right here we need. It's the anchor point tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the anchor point and pull out. Now, if it's doing this, then we want to go the other way, okay? So I just kind of untangled that. And then I'm just going to pull this all the way out as far as I can to make a nice curved archway, okay? So that's what we're going to do for our door. And mind you, you can make any kind of door you want. I'm just showing you how to make one of these doors. Okay, I'm going to make it a little smaller, maybe a little wider there. All right, we want that lined up at the bottom there. So let's copy this door. So I'm going to make a copy, Command C, and paste in front. Okay, and then let's just hold down. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my Shift key and just drag this part down like this. Okay, I'm trying to keep it so the bottom of the door stays parallel or stays right on the same line there as the house, okay? And we don't want to bring it too far down. We're going to change the color so we can see it better. I'm going to make this brown. And then I'm going to hold down my Alt key and click. And now I'm using my main selection tool here, okay? And this just makes it a little easier to move things around. Okay, so let's say we want this for our doorway. Okay, and I'm just playing around with it just a little bit more. Now let's add a window for our door. Okay, so we're going to get a circle, and let's just aim towards the center there. Okay, and we're going to pull that out, and let's make that this blue color, and then we'll just copy and paste in front, and we're going to use our main selection tool here, the black arrow, and we're going to hold down our Alt key and our Shift key and make this just a little smaller, and we'll make that black. So that will make that kind of like a porthole type of doorway for a window, that is, for a door. Okay, so let's drag out another little circle and make a doorknob. And we might make that more of an orangey or gold color. Okay, now let's go over here and make a window. And to make windows, all we need is rectangles. So I'm going to make a rectangle shape here. And windows usually have frames, so instead of just making a black shape here, what I'm going to do is let's start with that blue, okay? And then we'll copy, paste in front, and using the main selection tool, we're just going to hold down our Alt key and our Shift key and make this a little smaller, okay? And then we're going to turn this black. Now we could make it another color too, but I like to kind of make it black because it looks like we're looking inside this dark house in the middle of the daytime. Okay. So anyway, let's get the rectangle tool again, and M is our keyboard shortcut for that. And we want to kind of aim for the middle here. So see I'm on the center. I'm going to hold down my Alt key. I'm not holding down my Shift. I'm just holding down my Alt, and I'm going to make one of our window frames. Okay, and we're just going to turn that to blue. And then I'm going to get this other one here and do Command C, paste in front, and then I'm just going to rotate that like this. Okay, and then I'm going to let go, and then we're just going to have to zoom in here and get my main selection tool again, and we're going to go up. We'll hold down the Alt key while we're doing this so that it actually does it on both sides there, and that's how we can make a window. Okay, very simple. Okay, now my house actually had blue, it had blue accents on the side. So we're just going to do that too. So we can make the exact same house that I had when I first started this tutorial. And so let's go up here. This will show me that intersect. Now you could also just do this. I was actually trying to use just to make it clean here. We'll make this shape. We'll take the house shape. And so I'm selecting both of those by holding down the Shift key and selecting both. And then we do Shift M, and then we can hold down the Alt key and come over here and then delete that. Okay, that'll make that very simple. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Actually, we could just use a rectangle if we wanted to for this. And I'm going to go to outline mode for just a moment, just to see, because sometimes it's good to you can see things a little bit better in outline mode because I'm seeing the vector path. And I think that pretty well mimics that. I was just wanting to make sure that was about the same width there. It doesn't have to be identical, but we want it pretty close, okay? So I'm going to do Command Y again, so we go back, and then we'll just select this rectangle, hold down the Shift key, mind you, I got my selection tool, and click on the house, and then do Shift M, and then do Alt, and then we'll delete that part right there. Okay, so this is actually going to be one side of our house, okay? And so we need to make the other side because our house this is going to get extruded. So the easiest way to do that is we're going to make a rectangle that's this size. And see, I'm not holding down anything. I'm just looking at those guides to kind of help me. And mind you, I've got my smart guides on, and those really help when you draw. And there's the smart guides there. You want to make sure that's checked. Okay. So let's do it with the blue accents. If we start with this blue shape, I'm going to do Command C, paste in front, and then I'm going to pull this inward and hold down my Alt key so it does it on both sides. And then let's just select that color there. And I'm using my my eyedropper there. Okay, I'm going to pull this out just a little bit more. Maybe no, actually, you know what? I think it's fine right where it was. Okay, now let's get the window. Why make another window when we could just copy? So I'm going to select all the pieces that make up the window here. We'll group it. Command G will group it. And then we'll just drag it on over here, holding down the Alt key. Okay, so I first start dragging it. All right, like that. And then I hold down the Alt key, so that's going to copy it. And then I'm going to hold down the Shift key, so it's straight across like this. Okay, now the problem is this shape was drawn last, this side of the house. And so when I'm copying it, it's copying in front of it. It's not copying in front of this, so we need to bring this to the front. So if we just hold down Shift, Command, or Control, if you've got a PC, and then the left bracket, that'll bring that to the front. All right, now let's take this, and now we'll do the same thing and copy it like this. Okay, start moving it, then I hold down my Alt key, then I hold down my Shift key, so I copy it. And we're just looking for placement here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, now what we're going to do, and we can make the top, well, we're going to keep it purple right now because we can change that afterwards. But what we're going to do is we're going to put these into the symbols palette. Okay, if you don't have your symbol, if you don't know where your symbols palette is, you can find it up under Window, and you'll see the word symbols. Okay, and you're going to need to pull that palette out. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag these in there. Okay, so I'm going to drag first this set right here. So the front of the house that we're building, and drag it in here. I've already got one in there, but I'm dragging this new one in. We want to change the export type as a graphic and static, and click OK. All right, now let's select this one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put it in two ways so we can see what it's going to do here. All right, so I'm going to bring this in here like this. Graphic, okay, and click OK, and there we go. All right, now actually I'm going to drag this in again if it'll let me, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it. Okay, I'm rotating it like that for the moment, and we'll see what will happen if it'll let me. Nope, it didn't do it. You know why? Because once you create a symbol, it's a symbol out here. So what I'm going to do is just undo. Very simple. We'll undo it, and we'll just make a copy of this. All right. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here just a second when we start to extrude here. So we'll put this one in, static, graphic, all right. And we can actually move this down here so we can see where it's going to go. All right, now this one, I'm hoping I'm rotating it the right way. We'll rotate it this way for the moment. And then I'm going to drag this one in. And you're going to see what I'm talking about here in just a moment. All right, so static and graphic. Click OK. All right, now we want to extrude this. And what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go to Effect. I'm going to do it the wrong way so you'll see something here. Extrude and Bevel. And it looks okay. It actually doesn't look too bad here. We're going to up the extrusion depth. Okay? So the extrusion depth makes it go out like this. So that roof is a little bizarre there. And the reason why is because it's not grouped, okay? And so even if I look at it from a different angle, let's go try a different angle here. You'll see it does some weird things here. I'm going to cancel, okay? What we're going to do is we need to group those shapes. So we're going to do Command G will group that. And then let's go back up here to Effect, 3D, Extrude, and Bevel. Okay? And then we're going to go to our extrusion depth here. We don't want it too big like that. We'll bring it in a little bit more. And you see it's not doing that same thing. Actually, you know, we can play around with even isometric because it might be a good idea that you understand where the isometrics are at because we're going to be designing a game level map for our third and final project. And a lot of those are done in isometrics. And I did that from the wrong angle there. So let's actually go to this one. See that one. Okay. So anyway, one other thing we can do too is when we can rotate it manually if you wanted to, just to let you know. You can always move this. All right. We don't want we want to be able to see both sides. All right. So I'm going to go back to this isometric right here for a moment. And then what I'm going to do is to make it look a little bit more in perspective, we're going to use perspective. Right here is this little slider on this perspective. We're going to drag it over. And when we drag it over, see, it actually makes it look like it goes in perspective. All right? That's really nice looking. The only thing is we're not seeing it the way it was previewed before. Well, if we go down here and move this, it will work better. That's one of the things that Adobe needs to work on a little bit more is just perfecting this because they've had this forever in Illustrator, but there's still some glitches here. All right, so I have it shaded the way I want to. If I want to add another light source to the roof here, we could do that. But anyway, we want it lit on one side and darker on the other. If I want to, I can lower my ambient light so it really makes it much darker on that side if we want to, okay? But anyway, let's get in. I'm going to move this over just a little bit. Let's get into mapping the artwork we made, okay? So the way we get these sides onto this is we're going to go to Map Art, okay? And when we map art, you'll see this. And notice the house here. You see this red? Now, right here, I'm going to go, see, this is next surface. So it actually, we start off at the right surface for this. We want this front surface, all right? We're going to go and choose a symbol. And with the symbol we made was the same size as that house. So we're going to go down here, and we're going to put that on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do scale to fit. And it's already fit in there, but we just did that to make sure. And the other thing that's going to really help this look much better is shade artwork. Okay, so it actually shades it for us. Now what we need to do is we need to go through here, cycle through until we find, there we go, that's the side we're going to see. All right, so let's actually find the other house here, okay, for other side. And one of the reasons why I rotated it, as you can see already, is because we want this to fit. And it just makes it a little easier if we actually, you know, because I could do it like this and try to get it right. I'm trying to rotate it a little bit better here so it's straight up and down. Okay. If we do scale to fit, it actually goes back to that. And that's one of the reasons why I actually made this other symbol here rotated. I think it's rotated up the wrong way. See, that's my problem there. I anticipated drawing the house from a different direction, and we could do that, you know. But anyway, let me move this. What we'll simply do is we'll just rotate this all the way over here. If we do scale to fit, I think it's going to flip it again. Yeah, it's going to flip it. But you know what? Let's just we'll rotate this. This is silly. There we go. All right. Now we got it to work because we want these windows to line up. And so that fits in there fairly well. And then we got the shaded artwork slower. We click OK. We click OK and we're done. Okay? It's that simple. That's how we can make a house. Now, if we want to change the color of the roof, we want to improve the house in any way, Because let's zoom in here, take a look at it. We can always go to our, well, first of all, if we're going to change the color of the roof, we need to select the roof shape, okay? Because this right here is the house. And this is what we see in vector mode. But this is the house in preview mode. Okay, it will print like this. So anyway, what we want to do is if we use the direct selection tool and click on the roof, we can change the color of our roof. All right, so we might want to change it to be the same color as the sides there, just so that looks better. Okay, and if we wanted to change the color of the house, well, it won't change because we made these colors. This is what's being mapped. All right. So anyway, if you're going to change any of that stuff, you'd have to double click and go into here. All right. Oh, I see what's I'm missing a part here. So anyway, let me fix this then. All right. We can actually fix this right now, and I'm hoping that this will show up when we map it, or actually it will actually just map it for us. Let's get the rectangle tool. Because obviously, when I drug this into the symbols palette, I didn't have this part. I missed it by just a little bit. We could do Command Y to see what that looks like. All right, we'll move that just a wee bit like that. Okay, there we go. I think that's good enough. Go Command Y again. So we go back. Now let's select the house shape. Hold down the Shift key. Get Shift M. Click on this. But let's also change the color. Let's make our house kind of a more, I don't know, we can make it more, I'm thinking trying to go, if it's like a kid's kind of, maybe it's something for a fairy tale. Maybe we might want to go for something a little bit more on the pinkish side. There we go. Okay, now we go over here to edit new, exit symbol editing mode. And look at that. That's how we change that color, okay? Now, let's do the same thing on this one. All right? And we're going to take that. And, well, my one bad thing that's happened is I didn't remember the color. So here's the problem. If I would have made that color in a swatch, I could do that. So I'm going to have to exit out of here. All right? All right, so what I can do is I can either make this into a quick swatch, and let me show you how to do that. So I got my swatches here. All right, we can go over to this little thing right here with the 3 lines where it says new swatch. Okay, and we're going to make this into our new swatch. Actually, you know what? That's not the right color. We want this color right here. So let me click on this. All right, we'll sample it. There we go. Now let's go new swatch. All right, go new swatch. All right, so that's the actual color there. Click OK. Because it was picking up the color off this house shape that got extruded. Now, let's go back and edit this. Double click it. Then we get our selection tool. And then we go over here and click on the swatch. All right? Either that or we could have memorized those numbers for CMYK. Now let's exit out of here. And you see what I did was it changed the color. All right? Very simple. And so, if there's any problem with, I see a little weird white line there, that could be, I'm going to see if that can be corrected if all. So let's go over to our appearance palette and let's click on this house shape, and let me zoom out here. Okay. We use the main selection tool. There we go. All right, so I was using the direct selection tool. I just selected just the rectangle of the house that we had added the point to. I didn't get the roof with it, so that's why I went to the direct selection tool. Now, when we look at the appearance palette, 3D and extrude and bevel pop up, okay? And we just click on that, and let's up the blends and see if that will help that at all. I'm hoping it will, but maybe it won't. Okay, I'm not seeing any change in that, but sometimes the blends will help, okay? So anyway, if I want to change anything, if I wanted to rotate this again and rotate it going this way, all right, then I would have to actually map this other side here, okay? So let's do that just to show you, okay? So we're going to go through here. We'll cycle through until we find the right side. It'll eventually come over, unless I've already missed it. I probably missed it. There it is. Okay. All right, it's 4. Yeah, I scrolled right over it. So it's 4 of 15. Now let's go and and get this symbol side. Now, see, I rotated that the correct way when I was rotating it, when I was dragging it into the symbols palette the first time, okay? So now let's do scale to fit. We got shade artwork slower, okay? And, we can always change the lighting on this if we want to. We can move our lighting this way again if we want to, okay? And then we click OK, and there's our house, right? So that's how we extrude and make a house. And so let's click off. Well, let's actually turn on this layer here and go through these artboards, and I'll show you some other houses I made. This one's usually the one I demonstrate with when I teach how to do this in Illustrator. But I decided to try some different houses, and so I made this dog house here. And by the way, I arched that text there. And if you wonder how that gets done, I can just show you quickly. We can get the type tool here, and we can start to type. Actually, we need to be on layer 1 here, okay? And we'll just type something. Type Fido again. You'll be in black, no capitals, but we'll make it just a little bit larger so we can see it. Okay. But I just wanted to show, since I have this up here, I just thought I should show you. So if we've got our text out, and we can do Command T, which will bring up our text. I think it was already out there. There we go. Yeah, there it is. So if we wanted to change anything else, we can make this bolder here. Or actually, that's not going to be bold because of that. But let's make it just a different font for a second here. Yeah, okay. Let's do this neon. There we go. All right, now if we click on envelop, or we can actually arc this a number of ways, but let's click on this. And this would be the easiest way to arc it, okay? So we're going to, if we don't want it arced as much, we can do this. We want it arced more, we can do that. Now there's other styles in here already preset, just so that you know this. And I'm just showing this to you so you know where to find this, because you might need to use this at some point in time, and you can always actually play around with these settings more. So if we wanted to bulge, we wanted it more horizontal, we could do that. But that's how that got done. I just wanted to show you that, okay? Anyway, that's my dog house. I wanted to actually make a real house. And that's what I was doing this afternoon before I started doing this tutorial. Was I thought to myself, I'd like to test this and see just how realistic, you can get with a house. And this is what I came up with, okay? And of course, the more detail you add to your house, the more realistic it's going to look, okay? But you see all the shapes that are involved here, and what got extruded, and how the stuff got mapped on. So I actually had to split these things up, because each of these is a different level, or a different side here. And if we click on it, you'll see it, okay? And we'll go to map art so you can see what I mean here. All right, notice the red here, that red line there, okay? See, that's that side. That's this side. So that's why I had to split those up there. And this side right here. Okay, so all that got mapped on there. We'll just click cancel. But I just wanted to show you that one. Now I decided to try something else, and that is I wanted to make a barn. So this is the barn I made, okay? And very simple structure, but I wanted to play with it. It's shaped kind of like the doghouse, where I kind of bowed it out at the top to make it kind of a little more cartoonish kind of style of a barn. But then what I did with these lines was I did a blend. So I made these lines with a blend. And then I went in and expanded that. And if you remember our earlier tutorial, how we did that, we took that, we expanded it, and then I went in with the width tool and actually made some of those areas irregular. So I widened some of the strokes there, and that's how we get that, okay? So see, you can do it quite a bit here. Now, one last thing I'll show you before the end of this tutorial is I actually decided to try just a rectangular shape, except it's shaped like this, okay? And I decided, well, let's make an office building. And you see I've got reference here. And that's one of the things that some people really fail to do, is actually look at reference when they're creating things. I'm always looking at reference. If I work from my head, it's only because I've done it before and I know what I'm doing. But I looked at, you know, the style of like these windows here to create this one main window. And once I made that window, then I could copy it. I use my blend tool actually to duplicate it, and then we mapped that on there. And we'll take one quick look at to see how this got mapped on. So let's go over here. You'll take a peek here, and let's go to Map Art, and you see that got mapped onto that surface. And then we have these other surfaces here too. Okay, so that's I had to make the sides of this. Now, if I designed something for the roof to put on it, I could do that too and map it on there. But I just wanted to show that. Okay, so you've got a lot of possibilities with this. And so for this exercise, what you'll be doing is creating a house-like structure, and so it'll need windows and doors, and that's the end of our tutorial.